let's go to the next page. And now we are coming to configuring history database. Okay, and for this purpose, I'm starting a new tab here in the help and going into configuring No, it wasn't happy configuring. History. I forgot history databases. That's yes. Creating and configuring history database. This is or configuring history database. This is the one page I want to show you here. Here we have description of different requirements. Okay, we do have the concept. So we are basically what we see here are use cases, default use case, and concept 1 to concept 5 use cases. If I'm scrolling down, okay, they are described here. So you have here with every concept, this is the default one. You know, you have here the use case described. You got a really nice graphics. And if I'm scrolling up again, if you think this is the use case you have to use in the project, okay, this is all close to it, you can now go to the workflow, click on the workflow, and you will have here the step-by-step guidance how to define this. This is really nice from my point of view. Okay, let's go back. Let's have a look to the use cases. And now again, I'm using, sorry for that, Marcel, I'm using both screens. Okay, I'm switching from one to the other screen. And here, I'm using now a little bit different graphics in my presentation, basically, in our presentation. So here we do have these default archive groups, okay? And as we know, activities from each data point imported into the Desigo CC are attached to this archive group, default archive group. Here the events, and here the values or the trends, okay? These are the symbols we are using here. What you don't see here, and you see on the other screens, is the incident. Because this is mass notification, we want to really focus on our TBS approach, basically. So, per default, you remember, when we created a history database, okay, in version 2.1, and this is the same, still the same in version 3.0, we create a history database. Those groups are assigned to the short-term storage or HDB, and this is a ring buffer, okay, ring buffer. So if this is correctly set up, configured, okay, what this means correctly, we will see in a couple of minutes, then basically you are going to fill up the size of the history database you defined in the project, okay? And there will be, hopefully not, but there might be a situation where the history database is full, and then with every new value, you lose also a value, okay? With every new entry, you're losing. So the ring buffers, first in, first out situation, what we are having here. This is the default. This is still the case when you're now creating a history database and you're attaching it to the Desigo CC, to a project, okay? Still in version 3. Concept 1. Concept 1 here, sorry, on this screen, is simple archiving with single storage. I'm using one long-term storage. In this case, with a yearly time definition. So, again, here, this means either I'm achieving the size of the storage first or the time period of 1 year, and then this storage is going to be closed, okay, and then shifted over. I'm using just one storage. I'm switching now over to this presentation. So similar situation. Data are now moved, entered directly to the storage. Slice 1, in the beginning it's going to be slice 1, and the slice 2 is the spare one. Okay? And here you find the information in the help, you know, that this is the concept 1, basically. So in SMC, I can define the number of storages, the number of slices. In this case, in this example, we are using 2 slices, and the maximum size of each of those slices. Okay, this is what I'm going to define in the SMC. This is what I'm going to explain you at the end, almost at the end of this session. This is the most tricky part. First, we have to understand the storage. So, in this case, and this is probably used in many cases of the project, don't know, 60, 70%, I'm using one storage. Okay? There's not really a reason to use more than one storage. Okay? I'm using one storage, basically. What's the advantage of having now a storage compared to the short-term storage, the HDB? What's the advantage here by using this storage compared to the short-term storage? No, it's actually I'm able now to store and to archive. This is the advantage. With the short-term storage, with the HDB, I'm having a ring buffer. Eventually, I will be losing data. You know, I will be losing data. The long-term storage is built to not lose data. So whatever I'm going to define in the online part of the storage, it's there, and everything else is going to be automatically archived. Okay, this is the really big advantage. Okay, this is what we were looking for, especially coming from the building automation part. Okay. Next concept. I'm using more than one storage. Okay. Again, here in this screen, this is also described. Okay. I'm using more than one storage because maybe I want to have data here in monthly time period, and this one's here on yearly times period. So what could be reasons? Coming back to this screen, what could be reasons to have one or more storage? So reason could be that the activities and the events are having a less higher load, data load, than the values. Okay? The values I'm expecting to have here a much higher load. Okay? So I'm keeping them in one storage. I might not set any time sliced here. No time sliced means I'm filling up those slices. I'm making sure that they are full. And here I'm expecting to have less volume. So here I could say, okay, I want to have at least monthly slices or yearly slices. Okay? These could be reasons, you know, to separate storage, to have the value segregated, okay, to each other. Or the customer requires to have them segregated, to have them separately. This is another possibility. Next step, And now, sorry, I'm going back once now here. So far, okay, so far, this is license-free, means no additional options. So, sorry, not license-free. There's no additional options by now. Not for the compact feature sets and not for the standard feature sets. This is all part of the compact and standard feature set. Long-term storage is part of it. Okay? We are coming now to a point where additional options are needed. License options. And this is the custom archive group. And here in this example, I'm having validated data. So I'm having a project with validated data. And you see now there are two things I have to do additionally. I need to create this custom archive group. Okay, this is the easy part. A bit more the time-consuming part is now to assign specifically those data points to that archive group. And then having that as a prerequisite, basically, I can store them in a complete separate storage and make sure here that I'm having them treated separately. This is probably in many cases in validated projects the request of your customer. It might even request to have for each of those specific logs, events, values, specific separate custom archive groups. Okay? And now we are going to a step further. So it's not going to be boring. Another custom archive groups with sensitive data. Now the situation here is different, very different, okay? By now we said we want to store the data, we don't want to lose it. Now you're having sensitive data. So now I'm looking to maybe access control, intrusion systems, where the customer tells you those data needs to be deleted after 7 days. They have to be deleted. These are the case in security projects. This also for me was a bit of a new situation, okay? Because coming from building automation, I was kind of focused on keeping them as long as possible, basically. For energy purpose, energy management purpose, and so on and so on. I want to compare their data, especially trended data, year per year. I want to see a comparison of energy consumption data over 4 or 5 years to see if I'm really saving energy. Saving energy and energy management is one of the most important features these days in a building automation system. So you see here, we are coming now from different world. Security, security, fire safety, and building automation. With previous classes, there was the second class we did was purely fire safety and security people. And they said, well, I'm not really caring about those data. After 2 years, nobody asked for it. So if they're lost, they're lost, okay? In building automation, this is a no-go. You need to save them. You need to make sure that you can also have archived files and so on and so on. In validated, it is really important. Archive files has to be available for at least 10 years. This is what the FDA and European regulation tells you. And here, this situation, now the customer or a regulation in a country says this has to be deleted after this amount of period. Very flexible. You see that? This is all possible. We can do that.